Hello and welcome to Cooking the Books with Heather. Today we are going to be making pork ribs with mustard sorghum sauce. Yes, that is correct. Out of the Poole's Diner cookbook. This is a relatively simple recipe. She says that in her opinion, she doesn't like ribs super duper tender, so it's actually a very relatively short cooking time on this, but it does take a long time in the refrigerator before you cook it to cure, because you put this Poole's cure that we made, and I'll link that below and hopefully put a little card up here for you. We made this earlier today. It's been in the refrigerator. It has some fresh ingredients in it. And she says, okay, her recipe is for 2 racks of ribs, and these are St. Louis cut ribs, which are very meaty, and they're the ribs we usually use anyway, instead of baby back, which are sort of less meat, more bone. She says to only use 2 tablespoons for 2 racks of ribs. I'm not sure that that will be enough. So we'll see. I'm going to see what I think about, 1 tablespoon on this 1 rack of ribs. And then we're going to wrap it with this plastic wrap. And you can see that I have grossly underestimated the size of the rack of ribs compared to my pan and my plastic wrap. So I'll be using more plastic wrap than this when I'm done. But let's get it rubbed and cured. This needs to sit in the refrigerator for like 12 hours. It'll probably be more like 18 or so for us, because I'm not gonna get up at 3 in the morning to cure these for 12 hours before I cook them at 3 o'clock tomorrow to have dinner at like 5 or 6. So it's happening now. So let's get it going. So I've got a tablespoon. Now this is both salt and sugar in this rub, in this cure. I'm just gonna, and this does not look like enough at all. So I think we're gonna make the executive decision to put more on here. We're doubling it right now, and I haven't even hit the other side. I think there's not enough right there, because usually you want it on both sides. Let me verify. Yep. Rub all over with the cure. So I don't know how she's getting 2 tablespoons to cover 2 whole racks of ribs, and yeah, whatever. I think I'll probably go with about 1 tablespoon on this side though, because it's the bone side. You're probably going to get less flavor on this side than the other side from the rub that's on it. So that's my personal opinion. All right. Yeah, we now when my husband does this, he smokes a lot of meat. These are not going to be smoked. They're definitely an oven recipe. He takes the silver skin off and trims it up and makes it look nice. And that's not mentioned in this recipe. That may just be a thing that most chefs believe that, you'll know to do. But since it's not in the recipe and I don't like to do it, I was going to make him do it. I'm just not going to do it. So I see a few places where there's not any rub that I can see. So, plus some of it got stuck on my hands. Anyway, so we didn't do that. And I'm now going to wash my hands so I can wrap this up. And we'll be done for tonight. So, yeah. I'm going to wrap this up, leave it on this tray in case it leaks in the refrigerator. And we'll see you tomorrow afternoon when we're ready to cook it. Our ribs have been in the refrigerator overnight, about 18 hours, I guess. which is more than called for. I have rinsed off the cure as much as I possibly could, patted it dry with paper towels, and I have my baking dish underneath here, my sheet pan, and I have, this is a sort of extra wide, heavy duty aluminum foil to wrap it up in. My oven is preheated to 250 convection or 275 without convection. And so we need to lightly salt this at this point. And I did use a little extra cure, so I am gonna lightly salt it because there was a lot of salt in the cure. So I'm gonna salt this. I've got this meat side up currently, and then I'm going to turn it over and cook it meat side down. That's not something that she says in the recipe, but that's just how we generally do it. There was no pepper in the cure, so you can be heavy with that. And now I'm gonna flip it over. It's very heavy and a little slippery. There we go. All right, salt and pepper again. Now, we're gonna wrap this up tightly with the aluminum foil. And the way I'm gonna do that is to fold these. I didn't get it very well in the center, so I'm just gonna have my taller side towards me because I'm gonna roll it away from me. Anyway, sort of crimp it around it, wrap it up tightly, and then fold these in. And we're gonna kind of turn it this way so it fits a little bit better. There we go, wrapped up tightly. Goes into the oven for 2 hours, and we'll be back. The ribs have come out of the oven about a half an hour ago. So you roast them at a really low temperature for 2 hours, but then you let them rest for half an hour, still wrapped in the foil and everything, before you finish them. Right now we're gonna make the sauce, and the sauce is a mustard sorghum sauce. So first we have Dijon mustard. I have a little bitty whisk and a little bitty bowl here because I'm making a half batch of this. The recipe is for two racks, and we're only doing one. And then this is sorghum, and I accidentally got the same brand that she says she likes, which is the Muddy Pond sorghum. Sorghum is a liquid sweetener, sort of like molasses. It actually tastes a little bit like honey to me. I'm not sure I've ever had it that I am aware of before this, but anyway, I ordered it online, and it, and that's all over the place. I'm gonna have to clean that off. So now I'm going to mix that with the Dijon mustard, and that is it for the sauce. So that'll be interesting, but it's, a little sweet, a little mustardy, all mixed together. And I'm gonna get the ribs, 1 second. So at this point, the ribs are warm but not hot. I'm going to use this foil on the pan, and but first I'm going to drain off the accumulated liquid into this bowl here. She does not tell you to do this, but this is me keeping cleanup up to a minimum, so I can use the same foil. There's a lot of juice there. And all that just came from the pork. There was no added liquid. All right, so now I'm going to open it up. You can see the bones have started to, the meat has started to pull away from the bones. I'm just gonna kind of fit this to the pan a little bit. And we're going to roast these with the sauce on. My oven has the broiler on heating. I'm gonna turn these over since my hands are already messy, might as well. I'm gonna sauce just this side, just the meat side instead of the other side too. She doesn't tell you to do both sides. So I'm gonna wash my hands, be right back. So we have our ribs and our sauce, and I'm just gonna use this silicone brush to paint it on. The ribs are completely done at this point, so I'm not really contaminating my sauce with this. I'd probably use most of it, I don't know. I think that is plenty. So I'm gonna just save that. These are going under the broiler for about 5 minutes, just until they caramelize. The sugar and the sorghum will sort of caramelize, and I'm gonna have to keep an eye on it so it doesn't burn. They were in for just a few minutes, and I got a little brown, got a little brown on the top, and now I'm going to transfer them to this cutting board. They're, whew, I've lost one rib bone, so you know the bone is coming out, so that's good. And she says to slice these in single bone segments for serving, so I guess I'll do that. And that is it. So we'll let you know what we think of them. On this episode of Cooking the Books with Heather, you watched me make pork ribs with mustard sorghum sauce from the Poole's Diner cookbook, Ashley Christensen's cookbook. And it was a really simple recipe. It takes some time, you gotta do things overnight, let things rest, that kind of thing. But it was very simple, nothing special really required. It did use the Poole's Cure, which we have in another recipe that you'll probably see right before this. We've used that for a couple of other recipes too. In fact, it's been a little while since we made this. Couldn't find where I told you guys what we thought about it, so we're having to redo it now. So my husband is making some pork ribs just like this. Well, not just like this, but he used the Poole's Cure for them, and then he smoked them, and then now we've got them in a sous vide. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out, because that was one of the things about this recipe. She likes her ribs to be a little meatier, a little not as tender, fall apart. I don't want to say tougher. I wouldn't say they were really tough. They were cooked fine. They tasted good, but we prefer our ribs a little more tender than that. So we're using the same general method, but or the same spices and everything, but trying a different method. My husband loves to smoke things, so we use the smoker, and now we're sous videing, and we're trying some new things. So hopefully that'll go well. But also the sauce was very easy, but we did not love the sauce. It was good. I thought the sorghum was a good sweetener to use for sauce, and I would love to try that in a more traditional, probably tomato-based barbecue sauce that we generally enjoy on our ribs. We just didn't prefer the mustard-based sauce. It's just not our thing. But it was good, and I would eat it again. I just probably won't make it again. So yeah, if you like mustard sauce, it's a super simple sauce, as long as you can find the sorghum. But like I said, you can order it online. Yeah, so if you love it, definitely make this. Other than that, if you like your ribs on the meatier side like she does, it's a good method. If you don't have a grill or something else, a smoker that you normally would make ribs on, you can make them just fine in the oven in your house. So all that said, if you enjoyed watching me make this, please hit the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button to come back and watch me make something else next week.